A few months ago, there was a post on the Internet Mysteries subreddit by a user who had stumbled across a mysterious phone number. Calling it would lead to a voicemail greeting for an amusement park. Sounds pretty uninteresting, right? Until you actually try to research this place, and that's where the mystery begins. Let's investigate. If you enjoy internet mysteries and generally disturbing content, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can become a Ko-fi member or a channel member to gain access to uncut videos and other perks, or you can leave me a tip by clicking the thanks under this video. Thanks to anyone who considers this. Around 6 months ago, a Reddit user made a post on the Internet Mysteries subreddit titled 800 number found leads to made up amusement park 1800-222-1111 Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone. OP said he had been randomly dialing 800 numbers ever since discovering the Weird Numbers subreddit and had been documenting them in a spreadsheet for fun. He presumably didn't come across anything noteworthy until he dialed this number. In the post, he said, "When you call this number, it gives an ad for a Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone, claiming it's on State Highway 687, giving no other information other than an unintelligible blueberry farm being 4 miles away, weekly mitten knitting classes, among other wild things." Here's what the ad said. "Thank you for calling the Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone, located off of State Highway 687, just 4 miles past Jeepers Seekers Blueberry Farm. The Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone offers a multitude of fun and events for the whole family. Enjoy a fun-filled day in the swings and on a tilt-a-whirl, or cool off on an exhilarating ride on the zoomy, splashy water slide. We have pony rides, a petting zoo, a weekly knit your own mittens club, and a weekend marble rolling contest for all ages. There are rides and splashes for everyone. Wow. Satiate your munchies at our dragon-themed food court. Feast on offerings such as pizza, funnel cakes, and popcorn, or chow down on our famous dragon flame-grilled burgers and hot dogs. So come on out and join us, because the Dragon Wings Happy Zone is a roaring good time. Raw. OP uploaded a video on YouTube with the message you hear when you call the number. Here are a couple of snippets so you can get an idea of it.
Thank you for calling the Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone. Located off of State Highway 687, just 4 miles past Jeepers Seekers Blueberry Farm, there are rides and splashies for everyone. Wow. So, come on out and join us, because the Dragon Wings Happy Zone is a roaring good time. Roar!
So the Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone sounds like some kind of amusement park targeted at children, with some quite unusual events, namely a weekly knit your own mittens club and a weekend marble rolling contest. What's even stranger about this, though, is that the Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone doesn't appear to exist. Neither does Jeepers Seekers Blueberry Farm, which the Happy Zone is apparently 4 miles past, off State Highway 687. I, and many others who saw the post, have searched pretty extensively and found neither of these places on Google Maps or anywhere else on the internet. I tried searching many varieties of the names, such as Dragon Wings Happy Zone, Fun Dragon Happy Zone, Jeep Seekers, Jeeper Seek, and didn't come across anything remotely similar. As for State Highway 687, there are a couple of possibilities. One is in Kentucky and goes between the cities of London and Manchester. There's not a lot going on along this highway apart from a few cemeteries and a farm at one end called Sustainable Harvest Farm, which doesn't even appear to have any blueberries. It doesn't look like the kind of area that would have ever had an amusement park. There's another Highway 687 in Canton, Ohio, which appears to pass through some industrial and residential areas, so it would seem to be a better location for an amusement park. In fact, there is a football-themed water park opening soon, but that's hardly comparable to a dragon-themed park and sounds a lot more exciting than mitten knitting and marble rolling. There is a blueberry farm about 11 miles, a 17-minute drive from the end of this Highway 687, but it's called Blossom Creek Farm. Not even close to Jeepers Seekers, and honestly, it feels like I'm clutching at straws here. The only other Highway 687 I could find a mention of doesn't actually exist. Interstate 687 was proposed in the 1950s in the Capital District region of New York, and after funds were diverted and opposition from hundreds of people who would have been forced out of their homes, the plan was cancelled in 1973. If you look up the phone number, the company that has owned it since 1994 is Extel Communications. This company was founded in 1994, so I'm guessing they acquired this number along with various others, as they were and possibly still are a phone company providing toll-free services, among other things. One of the commenters on the Reddit post used this information to search for any other possible locations. Quote, "Few points. ChatGPT tells me the name on the paperwork for a 1800 number will typically be the communication provider, which is why the person who looked it up came up with the Extel Communications as the name. The communications company is based in New Jersey. The actual voicemail itself seems to be an actual person and not computer generated. The voicemail pronounces water as wooder. I live just outside of Philadelphia, and only in this general area does anyone pronounce it like that, including myself, which means the guy whose voice is on the voicemail is from the general Philadelphia area. New Jersey is just across the bridge from Philadelphia, so many people pronounce it like that in Jersey. There is a ride at Storybook Land amusement park in New Jersey called Happy Dragon, which is mentioned in the voicemail. But it seems to just be one single ride and not an entire place/area of the park. There is a County Route 687, aka Pemberton Browns Mills Road, however that is an hour from Storybook Land. I can't find any blueberry farm within 4 miles of Storybook Land, although I haven't looked too hard yet. Storybook Land has a tilt-a-whirl and swings. I don't see that they have a water slide at all. I watched a walkthrough video of Storybook Land and the food area I saw was not dragon themed. Although I was skipping through the video. They do have a dragon roller coaster, however. This is probably the closest thing to a match we're gonna get, but it still feels like a massive stretch. Storybook Land is not even close to Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone. The only vague similarity is a ride called Happy Dragon. Storybook Land is pretty far from any 687 road, and it doesn't seem to be anywhere near a blueberry farm, let alone Jeepers Seekers blueberry farm. At this point, I think it's safe to say that the Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone does not currently exist. I guess it's possible that it did exist at one time and they never got round to deactivating the phone number when it closed down or changed names. If so, it certainly wasn't Storybook Land though, as this park has been open since 1955 and it appears to have always had the same name. The voicemail greeting you're met with when calling this number does sound pretty vintage to me. The audio quality, the way the man talks, the background music, it almost sounds like it was recorded in the 1950s or 60s or something. Furthermore, the events he mentions, the Knit Your Own Mittens Club and Marble Rolling Contest, are hardly popular activities in 2024. The kids of today would much rather scroll TikTok, and even in, say, the 90s, they were probably playing with Tamagotchis, not knitting or rolling marbles. So if the Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone ever did exist, I'd be willing to bet it was a few decades ago. Considering there seems to be literally no information anywhere online about this park, it probably closed a while before the internet became widely used. At least that was my first assumption, but it didn't exactly hold up when I researched the phone number itself further. The most recent record I could find indicated the number was used by a woman in Missouri. I'm not actually sure how accurate this record is because although the site appears to be legit, when you click on her profile, there's a bunch of landline and wireless numbers, but none of them are this number. So let's forget about that, it's not too important anyway. More relevantly, I found numerous reviews on a few different sites over the years from angry people who had received calls from this number that appeared to be telemarketing and/or scams. Some had been told they'd won a vacation package in Florida from rewards points on their Capital One visa when they didn't even have a Capital One visa. Others had been hounded about car insurance. Those who had missed the call and tried to call back were often met with a message along the lines of, "The number you have dialed cannot be reached from your calling area." These reviews date back to 2008 and some are as recent as 2016. So this tells us that the phone number was not affiliated with the Fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone until 2016 at the absolute earliest. Which kinda disproves my theory that the voicemail greeting was for an actual amusement park with this name that closed decades ago. It doesn't necessarily mean there never was a Happy Zone, or that this greeting wasn't for the actual Happy Zone, but it makes it highly unlikely if the Happy Zone did exist that this number was ever the official contact number for it. Someone acquired this number sometime after 2016 and added the voicemail greeting for an amusement park that was not open at that time. Given this number's history of scams, one might wonder if the Happy Zone is a scam in itself, only no one has been scammed. People weren't receiving calls from this number. A Reddit user randomly stumbled across it, and it seems quite a few people have called it themselves. They never heard back, even after leaving voicemails, and it's not like they were asked to provide any personal information or anything. The Reddit user whose comment I quoted earlier about Storybook Land actually proposed a theory of their own, quote, "Keep in mind the entire point of Storybook Land amusement park is all about kids' stories and tales like Humpty Dumpty, Jack and Jill, Little Red Riding Hood, which are all very big-known stories that most kids in the US at least have read at one point. I can't say for sure, but I believe someone related to Storybook Land rents or owns the number from Extel, and may be keeping it as a placeholder number for now. People have said it's been used in the past, but I'm not sure how recent. So maybe while the owner isn't using it right now, they decided to make a funny, weird voicemail relating to Storybook Land. And considering again the entire park is based on stories, tales and imagination, it would make perfect sense the owner wanted to have fun and make up a story for the voicemail while he's not using it at the time. I'd say this is a pretty good theory, and makes a lot more sense than the Happy Zone actually existing, despite there being no information about it at all online. I'm just not entirely convinced that this number has anything to do with Storybook Land. SL has been open since 1955, it already has a phone number, and from what I can tell, it's used the same number for a long time, so I don't see why it'd need another. As I said before, the pretty vague location described for the Happy Zone does not match the location of SL. If this number was a placeholder for SL, why not make the greeting describe the location of SL? You might as well advertise the place. I just don't see enough links between SL and the Happy Zone to believe the phone number is linked with SL. It is possible that the Happy Zone is just an inside joke or something, but nothing to do with SL. Maybe some random person set up the greeting as a joke and never expected anyone to just stumble across it. On the YouTube video of the recording uploaded by OP, there is a comment that reads, "I know the creator but will never tell, haha. This will forever be pure creativity gold." This certainly seems to imply that the voicemail greeting is a joke for some reason. But who knows if this commenter really does know the creator, or if they just put that for internet points. It does seem like a lot of effort to go to for a joke. This wasn't a message just casually recorded on a phone, it sounds quite professional. It also doesn't sound like AI, particularly when the man roars at the end. While the name of the place is strange and the activities are a little unusual for this era, it's not so out there that it comes across as an obvious joke. The final theory we'll discuss is the conclusion I, and probably you too, jumped to as soon as I realised the Happy Zone doesn't exist. It's an alternate reality game, or ARG. This wouldn't be the first time that an ARG has included a phone number that you can call to find clues or learn more about the story. It also wouldn't be the first time a Reddit user has made a post about a mysterious phone number or website they found by typing random numbers or letters in, and it turns out to be an ARG. What almost solidified this theory for me is that if you called the Happy Zone number and tap star during the message, it prompts you for a PIN. One of the commenters on the Reddit post figured out the PIN was RAW 7627, which makes sense, considering the man ends the greeting with RAW. But when you enter 7627, you're simply met with a voice saying, "Your voicemail account has been disabled. Please contact your system administrator. Thank you for using the messaging service. Goodbye." And that's it. It doesn't unlock another message hinting what to do next, no further information, no one calls you back or anything. If this was an ARG, where's the rest of it? Although the Reddit post is pretty similar to many other ARGs, I actually don't find OP's story to be that implausible. Now, I can't say it's a personal hobby of mine to randomly call 800 numbers and document them in a spreadsheet, but there is a whole subreddit, albeit not very active, dedicated to weird numbers, and some people do actively look for them. The Happy Zone number is 800-222-1111. If OP was documenting 800 numbers and he had a method and started at, say, 800-111-1111, it wouldn't have taken long at all to get to 800-222-1111. Searching for a fun Dragon Wings Happy Zone does not bring up any information about this place, nor does Jeepers Seekers Blueberry Farm, and if this was an ARG, why wouldn't there be a website or something for it? I couldn't find anything that seemed even remotely relevant to anything mentioned in the call, and as I said, entering the PIN doesn't provide any further information either. OP and others claim to have left voicemails and they never heard back, which just doesn't make sense. The phone number did work. This was verified by multiple other users. It's not like OP just made the whole thing up. But shortly after the Redditor figured out the PIN, it was changed, and 7627 no longer worked. This indicates a couple of things. First, this greeting wasn't set up for whatever purpose however long ago and totally forgotten about. Whoever owned the number clearly noticed that people were calling, then they changed the PIN. Secondly, I think this suggests against it being an ARG. If it was, the first clue would have been raw, and it would have been solved by entering the PIN 7627. It doesn't make sense to just change it without providing any more clues or information after solving the first PIN. This number was active with the voicemail greeting for 3 months at the very least. The post was 6 months ago, and the comments suggest that people were still successfully calling up to 3 months ago. But as of at least 1 month ago now, the number is disconnected, which also makes it feel less like an ARG. Perhaps the lack of information after entering the PIN could be explained by whoever created it not yet getting around to developing more of it. But what was the point in all this if they never did finish it? Why go to the lengths of acquiring a phone number, recording a quite professional sounding voicemail greeting, setting up a pin that the greeting hints at, only to never provide any clues anywhere else or promote it online, basically relying on someone randomly dialing the number to find this, and then deactivate the number anyway when people actually start calling it? It just doesn't make sense. I guess the number being disconnected could support the theory that it is an inside joke of some kind. Maybe the creator never intended for random people to just start calling it. I don't know. Realistically, there's probably a pretty mundane explanation behind all this, but in the now mostly dead realm of internet mysteries, this really piqued my interest for some reason, and I hope it piqued yours too. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments, plus any other internet mysteries you'd like me to cover in the future. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Huge thank you to my Ko-fi members and channel members whose names are on screen now. I really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in a new video.